College C received approximately how much in state appropriations per student? Notice that we're being asked for the amount per student, and that this graph is also given as revenue per student. So that's convenient. We can just read the number off the graph. So state appropriations is the middle part of the bar. So we go to College C, and we see that that bar begins around 8,000, and it comes up here to around 27,000. And so that is a length of 27,000 minus 8,000, which is 19,000. And in fact, this is answer choice C. Suppose in the next year, 2007, College D's expenses remain about the same, but in addition to their current revenues, they receive an additional $50 million grant. This would allow them to reduce the average tuition by how much? So that $50 million would be split up among all the students at College D, and there are 36,000 students. And so the share per student would be 50 million divided by 36,000. And of course, if that is the share that the grant covers per student, that is also the share per student that the tuition would go down. Now, you might be tempted to reach for the calculator, but let's do a little approximation here. We can cancel 3 zeros, and then what we have is 50 over 36 times 1,000. Those extra 3 zeros. Well, 50 over 36, we know that that is something that is bigger than 1, but not as big as 2. It's somewhere between 1 and 2. So we have something between 1 and 2 times 1,000, which means we're looking for something between 1,000 and 2,000. Well, the only answer that is between 1,000 and 2,000, of course, is answer choice A, and that is the correct answer. What is the total dollar amount that College B received in grants? So notice we're looking for a total dollar amount, and here we're given revenue per student. So we're going to have to be careful about that. So first of all, we'll look at College B. Grants are the top line. So the bottom part of that top piece, that appears to be about 23,000. And the top part, just below 40,000, let's call that 39,000. So the length of that bar, 39 minus 23, is 16,000. So it means that College B is receiving $16,000 in grants for each individual student. But if we want to know the total dollar amount, we have to multiply by the number of students. Well, the number of students at College B is 12,000. So 16,000 times 12,000. You may be tempted to use a calculator here, but let's do a little approximating and see if we can avoid the calculator. We know that 16,000 times 10,000, well, that's pretty easy. That just means we take 16,000 and we add an extra 4 zeros to the end of it. And so what we have is, we have 160 million. Well, of course, if we multiply 16,000 times 12,000, it's going to be slightly more than 16,000 times 10,000. And so we need an answer that is more than 160 million. Well, 160 million is one of the answer choices. Obviously, that's not the answer. And the only one that is larger than it is 192 million, answer choice E. And that is the correct answer.
If a pie graph were drawn to scale to represent the animal distribution, what would be the measure in degrees of the central angle of the sector representing bobcats? And so I'm going to show 2 different ways to think about this, and folks might find one way or the other way more interesting or more useful. One would be to set up a part over whole proportion. Well, the bobcats are 24% over the whole 100%, and in the circle it would be some number of degrees over the whole, which is 360. And so if we multiply both sides by 360, 24 divided by 100 times 360 equals the number of degrees. And you could just type this in on your calculator, 24 divided by 100 times 360, and you get 86.4. Another way to think about this, a totally different way to think about this, is 24%. 24% is very close to 25%. It's 25% minus 1. Well, we know what's 25% of a circle. 25% of a circle, of course, is 90 degrees. Minus, well, what's 1% of a circle? 1% of a circle, well, that would be 360 divided by 100, or 3.6 degrees. Well, 90 degrees minus 3.6 degrees is 86.4 degrees. That's another way to get answer choice C.
Okay, to begin, let's let X equal the total zoo population. Now, the question tells us that 16% of the zoo population is leopards. The question tells us that there are 44 leopards altogether. So from this, we know that 16% of X must equal 44. From here, we'll rewrite 16% as 16 over 100. And now we'll solve for X by first multiplying both sides by 100. And now we'll divide both sides by 16 to get X equals 275. So our answer must be B.
So this is interesting. We're talking about lions and tigers and bobcats. We'll notice that the tigers are 8%, and both 32 and 24 are multiples of 8%. So if we call tigers T, then bobcats 3 times that would have to be 3T, and lions would be 4 times 8. So that would be 4T. So however many tigers there are 3T bobcats and 4T lions. So now we get this additional fact that if we add 8 tigers, so T plus 8, the new ratio of lions to tigers, so lions, 4T, to tigers, T plus 8, the new number of tigers, that would be 4 to 3. We get a proportion. Well, cross multiply. We get 12T equals 4T plus 32. Subtract 4T, we get 8T equals 32, or T equals 4. That's important because T equals 4, we can figure out the number of lions, but what we want is the number of bobcats. So if T equals 4, 3T is 12. Answer choice C.